Today is December the 9th. It is the 1200 hour of this day. So I wanted to take a moment to talk about Congress, specifically the United States Congress. We have three branches of government in our country, in our republic, I should say. We have the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. The Congress is the legislative branch of our government, and it's made up of districts. So everybody that is listening or watching is in a congressional district within their state. And they elect a representative for our federal government out of our state, whatever that district may be. Look at it this way: your congressperson is supposed to be an extension of you as an individual within the federal government. And you're supposed to represent, that congressperson is supposed to represent the needs of the people within his district or her district. God help me if I misgender anybody these days. So, and the way they divide districts up, it's what they call gerrymandering at this point, where they try to, if you ever look at congressional districts, they're never a straight, narrow block or circle. There were always these crazy things where they draw a little line in one direction and encompass a bunch of other people, because they want to grab a whole bunch of people that they think they represent better than others. So there are rich congressional districts, there are poor congressional districts. There are conservative congressional districts and liberal congressional districts. So let's take an example of this. Let's take Jerry Nadler, for instance. He represents a district out of New York, extremely liberal. Jerry Nadler ran his election, talking points for his election: I am the best person to impeach President Trump. So he gets elected, right? So the people that elected him expect him to impeach the president. Well, Jerry Nadler wants to impeach the president because he was elected on that. That's what he got elected on. Not just that, he's been there for forever. And him and Trump have always hated each other. It goes back years and years. So there's a personal vendetta there. But the interesting part is there is somebody running for Jerry Nadler's congressional seat. And you know what he's saying is impeachment. Because that's what the people in his district want to hear. So this shouldn't be a big deal. We should all have an understanding of this. Now, I think it's important that you understand where your congressperson stands with impeachment in regards to what's going on here. I live in a district that got flipped. It went from Republican to Democrat. It's one of these 31 districts that the Democrats want to hold on to. So my congressperson is now a black woman instead of a middle-aged white man. It's a millennial, a 30-something-year-old black woman. So I basically called my congresswoman and I left a message. Don't impeach this president. You don't really have really good evidence to impeach him on anything. Do not impeach him. If you value your congressional seat, you're not going to do this. Now, here's the thing. If enough people in my district do what I did, it's going to make that woman think, because she wants to keep her job. Look, the people we put in Congress make a lot of money. And there's no term limits, so they tend to be there forever, like Jerry Nadler and Nancy Pelosi. They've been there forever. Look and see how long they've been there. Chuck Schumer. I mean, jeez, they've been there for 40 years. Yeah, they want to hold on to that seat. And it's not so much the money. It's the power. The power of being a congressperson. Let's use another person example. Alexandria Cortez. Okay? She goes from being a waitress in a congressional district in New York, and I'm not sure which, but they basically elect her because they love her ideas. And she's going to hold to those ideas, even though they may not appeal to the rest of the country. And if somebody runs against her, maybe somebody will run against her. What happens is maybe those people in that district may get pissed off and say, man, she's a nutcase, and we don't want to have her represent us anymore. Then another person that challenges her on different ideas might win. That's what you want. But if a congressional district is full of people who just are going to be like that forever, you're going to be in power forever. Like, look around the country and see how long these guys have been there. And because what happens is these areas, these congressional districts, they don't really change. Regardless of what people say, we segregate ourselves into areas that we want to live based on what we can really afford. You think a lot of poor people want to live in the shitholes that they live in? They can't afford to get the hell out of them. So they're stuck there. They're stuck there dealing with the rats. They're stuck there dealing with the crime. They're stuck there dealing with the drugs and the fools within their community. The people that want to get out of there, they can't get out. The ones that can't get out can't afford to get out. The people that afford to get out, they go somewhere else. That's just the plain truth. So you have 31 districts in Congress that went from Republican to Democrat. And Democrats are worried that they're going to lose some of these districts, and they should be worried. Because this next election cycle in 2020 is going to be an interesting year. I personally think Donald Trump is going to win again. I think he's going to win by bigger numbers. Historically speaking, incumbent presidents always tend to win again. It's very rare for them not to. There's going to be some kind of, in here, I'm going to have a prediction on this. Because what's going to happen is Congress is going to impeach the president. They already made their minds up. They made their minds up to try to find something the day he got inaugurated, okay? The Democrats want to get rid of him. Nancy Pelosi even recently said that he's an imposter president. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? She just disenfranchised everybody that ever voted for him. So I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off. They're going to go to the polls because that is where your power is. You, me, as an individual, our power is in our ability to elect and elect people to office and dethrone people. And when I'm saying dethrone, yes, dethrone these Congress people. Dethrone the senators. Senators are more like a line of, they're a little, as far as the prestige goes, there's more prestige with a senator than a congressperson. Just so you know. There's more prestige. The Democrats are hoping, they know that Trump is not going to get thrown out of office. They know that the Senate is going to go through their own little ritual, and they're probably going to be more thorough than Congress, and they're going to look at all this nonsense, and they're going to say, what the hell is this? We're not going to remove him, because only the Senate has the power to remove the president from office. Congress may want him out, but that doesn't mean the Senate is going to do that. Bill Clinton got impeached. They didn't get removed from office. Okay, so what these people, the Democrats in Congress are trying to bank on, they're going to make the claim that the Senate is biased for the president, which it is, just as the Congress is biased against him. And they're going to make that the rallying point for 2020 is to flip the Senate. That's what they're going to do. They're going to want to turn from a Republican majority in the Senate to a Democrat majority. So they can have a Democrat majority in the Senate and Democrat majority in the Congress. This way, they can all collude together and get rid of the president in his second term. And it just, they'll just, Joseph Stalin had a saying, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. And this is exactly what they're doing. If you don't understand what I just said and you don't know who Joseph Stalin is, I'm not going to waste my time with another history lesson. The significance of that, show me the man, show me the crime, because that's what is going on. How many of you watching this can honestly say you could run for public office where somebody couldn't dig something up and use against you? Boy, I know they could use against me. If I ran for a public office, I know what they could use against me. From some youthful discretions when I was younger. You know, and they're not above holding you accountable. Kavanaugh is a really great example of this. A drunken frat boy gets accused of something that nobody can find or really agree upon. And look what happens. So your past can come back to haunt you big time when you in the political arena, particularly now. The days of the internet, where in Twitter and Facebook, where everybody puts all their business out there, and you can go back 10 years and find out what you did. So all these young people are being stupid now. They have no idea the repercussions of that in the future. I can make all kinds of claims and say things, but it's going to be hard to go and pull up my past with real evidence. But regardless of that. So the point is, the Democrats are going to use, and they're going to try to delegitimize the next election, because that's the only way they're going to figure out how to make this work. Because at this point, it's the Rocky and Bullwinkle show trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Really, that's what it comes down to. So my basic thought has to do with all this impeachment stuff. It's nonsense. I've watched all this stuff. It's just nonsense. And if you read Trump's transcript, it all goes on one thing. Will you do us a favor? We've been through a lot. Meaning, us as a country, not me as an individual. And the point is, these are all lawyers doing what lawyers do, where they want to grab one word, grab one thing, and if you've ever been on the receiving end of a lawsuit or any kind of nonsense of that attorneys do, if you've ever been on the receiving end of that stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How one use of one word is going to throw you down the toilet. Trump's not a lawyer. Most of the people you elect to the Congress and the Senate are lawyers. Look it up. The numbers fluctuate from time to time, but how many of them, percentage-wise, are lawyers? Look, being in the government, when you have money, these people already got money. So they go into politics for power, because when you have money, there's nothing left but power. And usually they go hand in hand. I find it funny that people that go into the presidency, they don't go into the presidency with a lot of they go in with a lot of money, but after they come out, they get a lot more. Look how much Obama was worth before office. Look how much he's worth after office. Look how much the Clintons were worth before office. Look how much they're worth after office. Look at all of these people. Now, Donald Trump is going to be a little different, because he went in with a lot. And he could have gone into politics years and years ago, back when he was much, much younger. I mean, people pushed him to do that, but he refused to do it. So his motives for running for president, are they altruistic or are they not? Now, the left will say, no, it wasn't. He's, blah, 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 whatever they want to make up about him this day. I personally believe he went into office because he believed he could do good for the country. And as far as I'm concerned, he's proven that. Socrates had a saying, the people that want to be in a leadership role the most are the ones that shouldn't have the power. If you're going to put people in a leadership role, you should put the people who don't want it in. And I understand his thinking with that. And that was Socrates. That was a very long time ago. That was about 3,000 years ago. I think it's about 3,000 years ago. 1,000 years before Christ. So, think about this when it comes to when you're watching this impeachment nonsense. Think about these things that I've said. I'm just a regular person like the rest of you. I'm nobody special, but I ain't a fool. And I don't let the media dictate what I'm going to like and what I'm not going to like. I can see propaganda a mile away. I personally don't think my fellow Americans have the ability to do that.